Alright guys, this is a long playing review for Roland In Time on the Amstrad CPC, and as you can see from the box art there, it might be a bit of a Doctor Who rip-off, potentially. Yes, released by Amsoft and Gemsoft in 1984. We're playing this 6128 version, which has some extra screens and unfortunately a bug, which means you can't complete it, which is why we're playing the cracked version, which resolves that. More on that later. Let's start this up, and I'll let you listen to the title screen music and animation. Yeah, Doctor Who music there. And the phone booth in space, although slightly differently coloured. Obviously didn't care about copyright infringement. And that's just starting things off there. Okay, there's 10 time zones to get through. You have to collect all the gems in each time zone. Just showing you there, 10 zones to choose from, and we'll start with the first one. And that's our time warp activated. Okay, and well, it's a single screen platformer in the mould of Manic Miner, and it features all the things you'd expect from a kind of a Manic Miner rip-off. But I suppose they've tried to add a few extra bells and whistles, maybe. Now, first thing I'll quickly mention this long play. There may be a few jumps in the video and audio here and there. I've had to do an awful editing job on this. It's taken me forever. Unfortunately, the footage I did take and the audio was all out of sync. There was a couple of problems with the actual video as well, so I've had to do my best to sort of fill it in and cover up the problems. As you can see, the video is over an hour long, and this game is ridiculously hard. It's really tough and there's a lot to do, and I'm not going to re-record it. Hopefully you won't spot anything, but there we go. So yeah, single screen affair. We're controlling Roland there. Now the Roland character has undergone quite a few different changes. He looks very different to the Roland on the Ropes character. In Roland in the Caves, he was turned into a flea, and so forth. Obviously lots of games in the Roland series. Now this gem here is a real pig to get to. It took me ages to work out. You have to be an exact pixel there to jump up and collect it. I think I spent about an hour or two just trying to get to it. And there's a lot of annoyances in this game. For example, some platforms, when you land on them, they start moving you in a certain direction, but there's no clear indication which platforms will force you to move and which don't. For example, this one here sends you upwards. So you have to experiment a lot in this game, but there isn't really much room for experimentation because of the enemies on the screen. You have a set number of lives. I think is it 10 lives? They call it 9 regenerations, I think, in the manual as well, which is really cheeky considering kind of the Doctor Who-ishness of this. And it's a really, really tough game. Really tough. That's probably why I think this is the first long play of Roland In Time on YouTube that I could find anyway. And that's a good reason for it, because it's rock hard and very annoying. I think most people have good memories of this game, but never really played it much in depth because it was just so hard. It's sort of a bit of a I fancy having a go on Roland In Time. You play it for about 20 minutes and get fed up with it and then forget about it. It certainly has its charm. But ruined by the difficulty level and just annoyances here and there. Oh god, and that music drives you insane. I'm gonna put this the volume levels of the music sort of further back and down because it's going to drive you insane watching this for an hour. Nice jumping and falling sound effects, but that is it. I think, apart from when you pick up a gem. Now on this time zone, I'm trying to take the quickest route possible through it. And I'm going to leave that gem there on the right because I've timed it just right with that shark there. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to have to come back up that way anyway later. So we'll worry about that gem in a bit. There we are, back at the start. And there's a nice range of characters and enemies. It's very, very colourful, if rather simplistic and blocky maybe. But it has a nice charm about it. And yes, that music stays the same throughout the game. It doesn't change on different sectors, or time zones rather. I presume we're in some kind of prehistoric time zone here because it looks like a dinosaur at the bottom, although it looks like a dog with a wagging tail really. That's on its standing up or something. We had a pterodactyl just above us on the screen above. So I purposely kill myself there, and the reason being is the only way to get to where I'm about to go shortly, to get to that gem on the right there, and also down the river, and takes us down to another sector, is because the only way to get there would be to go up that tree, go back to where that pterodactyl nest is, and go all the way back round again, and it would have taken forever. So I killed myself purposely there, so I didn't have to do that. But the rest of the game I'm going to do this without losing a life, which in hindsight was absolutely mental. So I did it a few time zones at a time. But I mean, this game is so hard. Yeah, I'm jumping up there to sort of slow myself down a bit, so I don't get caught by Shelob there, the spider. And now I'm going to see if I can commentate for a whole hour. There is some interesting level design, but then again, that is the game's biggest failing as well. Level design. Some interesting parts, but some really awkwardly designed levels. Some bizarre placement of items. There we go, that's all the gems on sector time zone 1. So on to number 2, and we'll activate our time warp. The Roman forts. Okay. So we've gone to the time of the Romans, and I think there's an Egyptian theme in this level somewhere as well. So we're progressing through the ages. Ah yes, there's a pyramid, and some more pyramids. And some of those platforms crumble away, so be careful. Now controls are nice, tight and responsive. I can't fault the controls too much. All it is left, right and jump, and I've got them right. But this was a pig of a section. This one was just timing yourself between the enemies. Hardened Manic Miner and Jet Set Willy players might not have much trouble with the game. I don't know. It's never been my preferred type of game. Oh yes, and also be careful how far Roland falls down, because it can kill him. That was about the limit there of how far he can fall, actually. And it sometimes takes him a while to fall, and an enemy might catch you up as well, so be careful of that. If you spend too long there, that Sphinx will come and kill you, or Pharaoh Head, whatever it is. But there's some really tight, precise timings you have to do there, and in this game. Sometimes pixel perfect jumps as well. It's a real nightmare. And you know what? Some of these levels and sections and screens take an awful lot of thought actually in planning, and trial and error as well. And you just don't have the life to sort of really mess about too much. Thank God for emulators where you can sort of practice things a lot easier. And you don't regain any lives as well. There's no score in this game. It's just collecting the crystals. And you're stuck with your 9 regenerations. I'm surprised the BBC didn't get wind of this game, considering it's got the phone booth time machine, TARDIS-like thing. It's got the Doctor Who music on the title screen as well. And in the early 80s, a lot of games were ripping off Star Wars and things like that, and no one seemed to bat an eyelid. This is 1984. By the mid-80s, people were starting to notice things that you can't get away with. I'm surprised they did. So I'm sure there was some notable copyright cases involving games in the mid-80s. There you go. Now I mentioned the Roland character, there's plenty of Roland games out there that came from Amsoft. Off the top of my head, we've got Roland on the Ropes. It's probably my favourite of the Roland series. Roland in the Caves, that's quite good fun. Roland in Space is the sequel to this game, and it's pretty much identical apart from it's not single screen. It scrolls. Wow, and it's a lot more impressive. The scrolling isn't brilliant, but it actually was pretty decent for an early Amstrad game actually. And by all accounts it looks like it's even harder than this one. Will I be doing a long play of Roland in Space? I doubt it, maybe, because I've had such a horrible time with this one. Other Roland games, Roland Ahoy, some kind of pirate game, I haven't played it much. Roland Goes Digging. Oh, it's a clone of, oh god. Oh, the name of the game escapes me. It's a famous arcade game. But you run around that single screen thing, platformer, and you dig a hole with your spade and the enemy falls in it and you can bash him with your spade. Oh, it's quite a famous game, but I forgot the name. Anyway, Roland on the Run, which is appalling. Roland Goes Square Bashing, which is even worse. I'm sure there was another Roland game, and it was another platformer. I'll have a check. I'm just going to quick look on the CPC Power website. Oh, it's like Roland Takes a Running Jump or something like that. That was appalling. It was a single screen platformer, just like this one, but I think it was written in BASIC. I think my fellow YouTuber John Gage did a video of it recently, so go and check out his channel. But yeah, Roland takes a running jump, that is awful. Roland on the Run as well, it's kind of a weird Frogger type thing. Where you jump between traffic in different lanes in a train. I mean, that was just utterly appalling. But if you want a good Roland game, this might be okay to check out. Roland on the Ropes, definitely. Roland in the Caves. Oh yes, of course, there was Roland in the Haunted House, which is a Pac-Man rip-off, and actually uses the Pac-Man character to play as. You don't see the Roland. It's purely a Pac-Man rip-off. Awful. I don't know why they didn't keep a consistent character throughout the Roland series. Obviously, they Amsoft at the time employed lots of different companies and programming houses to write games for the new Amstrad machine at the time, and they just went ahead and did their own thing, or they just slapped the Roland name on an existing game they'd already done for like the ZX Spectrum or something like that. For example, Roland on the Ropes, the best one I think was called Fred, a ZX Spectrum game, and it was also on the Commodore 64. So Fred became Roland on the Ropes. And I think the Roland on the Ropes character and the Roland in Time and Roland in Space character look vaguely similar. They both got hats. And about sort of the same size. That's about it really. Enough about the Roland character. Oh, one more thing to mention about the Roland character. The name Roland comes from Roland Perry, who was basically the lead guy on the CPC 464 project. I mentioned quite a bit about him on my 30th anniversary of the CPC video I did a few months ago. And Roland Perry is a very, very nice guy by all accounts. So Mr. Sugar decided to call Amstrad's mascot Roland after Roland Perry. But yes, on this time zone, it looks like we're in the time of the Vikings on Njorl's Dragon Boat, if that's how you pronounce it. Njorl, Njorl? Who knows? That's an awkward one to time there, that blackbird. And the castle's got, oh yeah, watch out, there's a bird that attacks you straight away there. And the castle has bits you sort of sink down in here. It's all very random. And at times it's got nice level design, other times not so. It all seems very random, maybe a little bit rushed, and perhaps a little bit immature in the game design front. So who were the programmers of this? This may not be accurate, but the CPC Power website lists the programmers as Darren White and John Line. Darren White, if true, very, very interesting, because he ended up writing one of the best games ever on the Amstrad, and that was a Turrican conversion. I think he's also known as Von Dazzling, I think, as well, which I think he was involved with Outrun Europa as well. But Darren White itself is listed on other games like Back to the Future 2, which is alright, Circus Games, Demon's Revenge, Oh Mummy from Amsoft as well, around about the same time, Pogo Stick Olympics, Kabbalah, spelt with a Q at the start, that's another one from Amsoft. I think he also handled the sequel to this game, Roland in Space. Also did Spherical for Rainbow Arts, same publisher as Turrican. That was a very, very nice, good looking game. And lastly, Stunt Bike Simulator. John Line, also involved with Oh Mummy and Kabbalah, and the sequel to this, Roland in Space. He also did Sultan's Maze, another game for Amsoft, quite a famous one, sort of a 3D maze type thing, albeit very slow. So there you go. I always like to give programmers credit in my long plays, because it's always interesting kind of checking out other games by them, especially if it's a game you like. invariably the other games they've done could be worth checking out. But it's interesting here that it started with a Roland game for Amsoft in 1984 and went on to do Turrican, which was simply awesome. Obviously stuck with the Amstrad, bless him. Well done. I'm not sure what happened to Gemsoft though, the company they work for that did these Amsoft games. They seem to disappear off the face of the earth around about 1985, sadly. Right, so we're 20 minutes in. If you're watching this in the week that I've uploaded this video, this basically, guys, is my Christmas video, my Christmas present to all my subscribers and Amstrad fans. Haha. Happy Christmas. Yes. I wanted to try and do a big Amstrad game before the year was out. I think this probably will be my last video before Christmas happens itself, and probably the New Year. I may squeeze one in before New Year's Eve, who knows. I haven't done a Christmas themed video this year, but this long play has been in the works for a few weeks, and I've only just finished it. What are we, 19th of December now? So yes, this will do. This is your Christmas present from me, guys. Happy Christmas. Funny enough, a lot of you might have got an Amstrad 6128 for Christmas at some point in the mid to late 80s, and this is one of the games that would have come with it. Along with the system discs and the CPM disc. And this might have been the first game you played at Christmas on your newly purchased 6128. This was released for the 464 and 664. You would have seen the box art for the 664 version. Was it re-released in a new box for the 6128? I don't know. But anyway, they added more screens on the 6128 version, which is the version we're playing, because, well, the extra memory. But unfortunately there's a terrible bug. In the 664 original, there was 139 crystals or gems you had to collect. But in this new version, new screens were added, and the number of gems become 143. And I don't think they accounted for that. Unfortunately, it made the game completely unfinishable. So there are some pokes to put into the game to do it, or we can play the corrected version from Gemsoft, which we're doing here, and adds an infinite lives cheat as well, which will be very handy. Gemsoft, of course, did the recent Bubble Bobble remake, and excellent it was too. That noise there is me banging my head, jumping up repeatedly to try and not fall down onto that moving turret. Oh, some nasty timing here to get past these gates. It's literally pixel perfect. Goes a little bit too far, you're going to walk into that other gate, and patience for this game. You need lots and lots of patience. It's a shame they didn't give you any continues of this game as well. I think 10 life seems generous, or 9 regenerations, sorry. Ooh. But you'll lose them quick, trust me, if you've not played this before. Perhaps could have added a continue, maybe. Oh, I don't know. Games are so much harder in the mid-80s and early 80s. Well, I find that anyway. Thankfully those floors that disintegrate regenerate when you come back on the screen. Yeah, and in certain areas you can actually walk through the scenery. It's never actually clear what you can walk through and what you can't, which is annoying. And a lot of you may have not known this, but on this time zone there is actually another screen, but it's hidden behind the phone booth time machine you see on the left there, and you've got to sort of jump over and through the time machine to get it, and if you get it a few pixels wrong either side from where your starting point on your jump, you'll end up going into the phone box. So I'm just trying to position myself here now. See? Managed to get through. And there's one more screen there with one more crystal to pick up. It would have been nice if they would have given a hint about that. Imagine getting to the end and you're like one crystal short. You have to go back through all the time zones and just try and see if there's a hidden secret screen somewhere. Bit annoying. And these are quite big jumps here as well. Probably the biggest, widest jumps you'll have to do. So you have to again be pixel perfect with them. I have to say though, the collision detection is pretty much spot on. But then again, we are dealing with rather rectangular shaped characters. And there we go. That's time zone 4 done. On to time zone 5. The very final time zone, number 10, is quite an interesting one. It's called the End of Time. And all it is like a black hole or disintegrating star. One screen, that's it. And it has a very strange gravitational pull around it. And there is a kind of ending to the game. It doesn't just repeat around, there is an ending, which is nice. Although not much of one, it's nicer that there is one there. Didn't quite get it there. Well, I'm running out of things to say, so I guess I will just make comments when there's something interesting to make comment on. The Devil's Bridge and that train. It's annoying. You can actually turn the music off in game, hit the enter or return key and that will turn music off. I don't know why I kept it on for this entire long play. I suppose when doing a long play you want to make the playthrough as complete as possible, and that includes keeping music there and all that. I wish I'd turned it off now, to be honest with you, because then I had awful audio sync issues. It's taken me ages to edit. You might notice a few jumps and pops here and there in the video and audio. Oh well. It's amazing though the impact that Manic Miner had at the time. Now Manic Miner was released in 1983 from Matthew Smith, very famous guy, a little bit odd. And of course within a few months I had a glut of Manic Miner clones. A year later, well, we've got well, Roland In Time. And it pretty much follows the same blueprint for most of it anyway. Crazy odd kind of enemies and sprites. Even the name of the screens, like we're at Trouble at Mill at the top there, kind of inspired by the names of the locations in Manic Miner. Slightly tongue-in-cheek or whatever, or play on words. And again, Manic Miner itself wasn't particularly original, really. I mean, it was basically inspired by the Miner 2049er on the Atari, Matthew Smith admitted. The Manic Miner was very good on the Amstrad as well. It's worth checking that out. I think Jet Set Willy had come out a year later, which is the sequel to Manic Miner. Maybe Jet Set Willy had come out before Roland In Time. So yeah, there's already a massive glut of these kind of Manic Miner, Jet Set Willy rip-offs going around. This one's quite awkward. Oh yes, Roland Goes Digging, a reference to another Roland game out. Just trying to get my timing right there. I don't want to get hit by that, whatever that is. Another mining cart. Yeah. Went for it. Unless you know exactly what's going to happen on each screen, there's a lot of trial and error involved, really, or taking a chance and a risk, and it often doesn't pay off. So I had to do a huge amount of practicing for this game. So I hope you guys appreciate this long play, because it took me a lot of bloody time, and it was a pain in the bloody arse as well. Hey, I don't mind. Yeah, and that's us done for the time zone. Making good progress. Time zone 6. This is pretty nicely presented for an Amsoft game. Again, it's very basic and simple, but I like they did like the little time zone warp thing there. You got an animated title screen, and there's an ending to the game. You know, a lot of these Amsoft games didn't have much thought put into like the presentation of it and things like that. Oh, that was an awkward crystal to collect there. Alright, okay, we've got missiles here. Missile silo number 47, and perhaps we're moving into sort of present day time and our quest through time and space, through the eras. And I presume, oh yes, of course, we go into the future on the next time zones. Okay, well that section of wall there is like an elevator up. Who knew? Stansted Airport. So yeah, we're in the present. We're in the present time. Planes and helicopters and stuff. What do we do here? Alright, we've got to be very careful and drop down. Remember, it just takes a few milliseconds before he drops, so bear that in mind. Could get caught out. I'm being very cautious here. We can't go through that wall, so back to the top. That was close. Shouldn't be taking risks on this game. Oh, this is a pig of a screen as well. I don't think there's any way anyone would do this first time. This took a lot of practicing. I suppose I kind of, yeah, some part of the floor there falls away. It's sort of getting back down here. Timing just right. Another jump. I guess when you watch these long plays, and I do the same on other people's channels whilst watching their long plays. It looks easy. Sometimes it looks so simple, you know, but the reality is when you actually play it, it's not the case. And some poor level design here and there has made this an overly difficult game. I mentioned that already. Well, seeing as we're coming up to the 40-minute mark, we've done only over half an hour's worth. Maybe I'll sum up a bit of a review here. Oh, before I do that, I should mention, look, we've got some ZX Spectrums moving about there. And is that a BBC computer? Moving up and down there, or an Auric, Dragon 32, or Commodore 64, who knows? Would have thought he would have put an Amstrad in there. But that's definitely a ZX Spectrum at the top there. See that clear as day with its famous markings. But yes, summing up a review. Let's do it now. It's hard because you have to judge it on, when it was released. Obviously, there's much better platform games have come since then. Obviously. At the time, this wouldn't have been too bad at all. So do you judge it on how it was at the time? How it is considered now, or generally? Always tough. Especially in the early days of programming on the Amstrad, programmers still hadn't learned all the cool little tricks you could do on the Amstrad and truly mastered it. In fact, they probably didn't for another good 5 years, really. But as a platformer, it works well. Some good level design, let down severely in other levels by really poor level design. Like for example here, these platforms, again, they're actually making me move. You can't see it, but they're forcing my character to move left or right. And there's no indication which platforms are moving, which direction they'll be going in. We'll see some conveyor belts on later levels, but yeah, it's a poor level design here and there. It's frustrating, really. I mean, Manic Miner did that to an extent, but it didn't take the piss like this does. Oh look, some actual conveyor belts. But yeah, okay, nice enough graphics at the time, colourful, simple, blocky. The sound effect is okay. Music is fucking appalling. It's obviously based off a famous tune. I can't remember what the tune is or what it's called or whatever, but it just loops over and over and drives you balmy. I suppose it's pleasant enough. The controls nice, tight and responsive. Collision detection good. Although we are dealing with sort of all of them are rectangular shape, so it's just probably just a rectangular box around each sprite or whatever. which works well enough. Playability, it's a platforming game. It's Manic Miner ripoff. If you like that kind of stuff, you may enjoy this. If you found Manic Miner too easy, you're going to have a good time with this game. If you found Manic Miner Jet Set Willy too hard, don't bother. So overall, what score would I give this out of 10? Tough. Tough one. I think even at the time it wouldn't have been highly regarded. It would have been, people have known it's just too hard. So I'm going to give this, I'm wavering between 6.5 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10. I think 7 out of 10 would be too generous. I'm sorry Gemsoft and Darren White and John Line, the programmers, and Amsoft. It's one of the better Roland games, but 6.5 out of 10, that's my score, and I'm sticking with it. Okay, so we're moving slightly into the future now, and there's been a nuclear holocaust apparently. The screen is after the Holocaust. Lovely. And we got some radioactive stuff moving about, and probably some radioactive stuff at the bottom there. In fact, I didn't know they were crystals actually. I thought those green flashy things. I thought they might be radioactive or something that could kill me. But there was nothing else to pick up on the screen, so I went for it. But hey, we're not far off the end. We're about 42 minutes in. Another 10 or 15 minutes to go. Oh yes, jump over the police box here. Nah, look, there's a hidden thing in the wall. At least it was fairly obvious. It can't be just one screen on this time zone. The crumbling city, quite a nice little screen this. At least you're given a hint that all the blocks there will be crumbling away. And of course when you go off the screen, don't worry, the blocks all come back as they were. I went too far down there. Yes, give up. Just don't want to hit my head on that thing there. Death of a landmark. This is an awkward screen to work out, because remember, you've got to come back this way. So follow my route. There should be a map available for this game. I think it's on the CPC Power website. Yes, there is. It's just really all the screens really laid out. Well, that might be handy for you. I always put a link to the CPC Power website page for a game I'm doing a long play of, because it has the most complete information about an Amstrad game. There are other websites that have information about Amstrad games and discs and ROMs to download, but if you can put up with CPC Power mostly being in French, there is a little English-British flag to click to switch to an English language. It's just still definitely, but it's not perfect, the translation. It's still worth persevering the CPC Power website. Oh, this was a difficult gem to get there. This screen is really hard actually. Especially the getting to the crystal on the left there. Pixel perfect jumping is required, so you don't bang your head against those things there, but you don't want to destroy too much of the floor, otherwise you won't be able to get back. Oh, That took a lot of work and practicing, believe me. Thank God, that's that time zone done, I think, isn't it? Just got to get back home to the TARDIS. Sorry. Actually, what does the manual say about this game? I've not given you the backstory. We'll walk to time zone 8 first, and then I'll tell you about it. Story time. Heli Hunter Station. Oh, we've got people on jetpacks. So we've got past the nuclear holocaust, and now finally everyone's got jetpacks. Awesome. So even though most of the population is dead, we've finally got our dream of having jetpacks. And we can move about with them. Marvellous. Okay, story time. Are you sitting comfortably? Roland in Time. Paul Roland has been stranded on Earth by the evil Maestro. Maestro. For Doctor Who fans will know that the Doctor's nemesis in Doctor Who is the Master. That is made a, or she has rather, made a reappearance in the latest Doctor Who episodes. But in Roland in Time, it's called the Maestro. Clever, Amsoft, clever. Okay, carrying on. The crystals that power the special drive of his brand new antimatter space-time runaround. Which, okay, antimatter space-time run-at-round. If you take the capital letters from that, it spells Amstrad. Clever! Okay, yeah, so the crystals that power the special drive of his brand new Amstrad have been scattered through Earth's past and future. Your task is to guide Roland through Earth's ages, searching for the crystals so that he can return home to confront his arch enemy. Sadly, there isn't any confrontation that you have to complete in this game. You'll see. Anyway, as you move from scene to scene, you must beware of the many creatures and objects out to destroy you. It will take all your skill and nerve to search the 55 screens, I think there's more in this version, the 6128 version, in which the crystals are hidden. You are lucky enough to have regeneration tanks. Regeneration, that's a Doctor Who word as well. Because the Doctor Who can regenerate, I believe it is it 9 or 10 times? Well, they got around it recently because we're on the what, are we on the 12th Doctor now? 13th? I don't know. I like Doctor Who. I like the Sylvester McCoy Doctor Who. I have all the episodes on DVD. I've watched all the new ones. I like Matt Smith a lot, and I like Peter Capaldi a lot. The new Doctor Who. Although I don't think the scripts and stories have been doing him justice yet, but give him time. The first season of Sylvester McCoy was mostly awful. By season 2 and 3 they really cracked the character for him. Anyway, rambling on. Last bit of the story in the manual. Good luck. May the Lords of Time... Oh, jeez. Of course, Doctor Who is a Time Lord, and there's Time Lords. This time they're just called Lords of Time. May the Lords of Time help you in your task. How Amstrad and Amsoft didn't get sued by the BBC, I don't know. Right, there you go. So that was the backstory for the game. Let's never speak of it again. And we've got a giant tree to climb up here. I'm not sure how that relates to things in the future, because we're in the future time zone, aren't we? Well, there's a guy on a jetpack to remind us we are in the future. Maybe we all live in tree houses in the future. Is that what the programmers are telling us? Yeah, up your way down there bit by bit. Be patient in this game. I know you gamers out there want to rush through levels. In the early mid-80s you had to have a lot of patience in games. You can't just blaze through it like it's Call of Duty. Patience, guys, patience. Oh hey, we're coming up to the last 10 minutes of this video. Hurrah! Not too hard a screen, this one. Just take your time. I have to say though, with all its faults and stuff, I haven't come across any bugs in the game, you know, where you jump and get stuck in something or whatever. I haven't managed to crash the game at all, so that's good. I mean, obviously you shouldn't have bugs in the game at all, but they do, you know, sometimes they just slip through the net. And often with older games there's usually tons of bugs and things that crash the game, because programmers are still learning how to program on the machine. I've not come across a bug here, apart from the really stupid bug I've already talked about, that the added some extra screens in this but didn't take account the extra number of crystals. That's good. Still, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, that platform forces you to move to the... Oh, I thought it forced me to move to the right. Okay, maybe not. Anyway. Oh, this is pretty much the last time zone, guys, really, with any... Well, because time zone 10 is basically just one screen with that black hole I mentioned earlier. And it looks like Roland's had some dodgy clones made of him, as you can see there at the bottom of the screen. And this is a bit of an awkward level, generally. Sorry, time zone, sorry. And I think these platforms make you move to the left, so you can't stop, so you've got to time that just right. Is that an ET there? ET the alien in the middle? So when we get really into the future, aliens have landed apparently, and ET does exist. Okay, bit of dodgy here as well. I believe you can jump through the ceiling here, but not at other points in the ceiling. If you touch that blue bar elsewhere, it kills you. Very naughty game design. Poor game design, really. Bit immature. The two towers. Bit annoying. You won't be able to jump across there. That yellow squiggly thing in the bottom middle there kills you. But I've tried to take the quickest route throughout the game where possible, which is why oh, you can go through the wall there. Yeah, random. If you remember, I killed myself on the very first time zone because I could not be asked to go back through the entire level just to get to one place again. Try to keep this as short as possible, but we're still over an hour of long play footage. So what have I got coming up next in the next few weeks and months? Well, I'm going to be doing a few more arcade long plays. I had one done. I thought they'll be online actually this week, and I realised as well the video's screwed up on the footage I took, so I'm going to have to redo it. I like doing arcade long plays because it's just something a little bit different. I love coin ops and arcade machines just as much as I love the Amstrad. Well, no, I love the Amstrad more, but I love my arcade games. So I'm going to do a few more of them. I've started doing review and long plays for arcade machines, like I do my Amstrad videos, and people seem to like them. I like doing them too. But I've not given up on the Amstrad. Obviously, I've got further parts to do on the Mega Blasters long play. That probably might be my next video. And there's some other Amstrad games that I've been wanting to do for a while. One of which had an annoying bug in which made it almost impossible to complete, but after discussions on the CPC wiki forums, I've got sufficient pokes now to get me through the game and actually provide some kind of long play for it. I'm still convinced though there's bugs within the game, and it's nothing to do with a bad transfer of the game onto tape disc. But anyway, yes, and I wouldn't mind doing some Game Boy long plays. That was my other favourite system. But I've yet to find a good Game Boy emulator that allows me to record video within the emulator. I like to use the emulator tools to record video rather than say Fraps or something like that. But with that comes its own inherent problems. If you record too long in WinA, which I use the MEA to use for the Amstrad videos, the audio starts getting out of sync. I think that's one of the problems that happened on this, which I've had to correct later on. Anyway, I'm rambling about stuff you probably don't care about. Now shut up. Now I'm just waiting for that saucer to take off, to jump back. Oh, I don't have to be pixel perfect. Maybe on the next screen, be prepared for something flying straight at you. E.T. E.T. go home. I watched E.T. recently, last week actually. I haven't watched it in years. Still a great movie, but not as good as I thought it was. Still a classic, but no, there you go. Anyway, I may do some more special videos, like compilations, kind of like top 10s of, or you know, I did a James Bond video game compilation video. They're quite fun to do and quite popular as well. And I'll be doing the odd Amstrad long play, of course. I won't ever stop doing them. I'm sure there's plenty more Amstrad games to be done. I mean, there's thousands out there. I think that's the last crystal actually I've just picked up that I needed. No, sorry, there's a couple more on the final section, and that's it. Yeah, that's all the crystals for this time zone anyway. So we're just making our way back to the TARDIS, the Amstrad time machine. And guys, don't forget, I have a Facebook page. I will provide a link in the description. Go click like. Not enough of you have done that yet, damn you. No, I don't blame you. Everyone's got a bit burnt out on social media stuff anyways. Too much of it around. Too many things to keep track of. But on my Facebook page, I think you just do facebook.com/Zypho. Should take you there. I do updates on there, letting you know what I'm up to, what's coming next, any delays on my videos or whatever. And also some exclusive content. There's, if you go on there at the moment, there's some videos on there I've not put on YouTube of me building a main cocktail cab, for example. But anyway, this is the final time zone, the end of time. We've got a very strange thing in the middle there, which starts sucking us up in a circular motion and into it. So keep jumping. I think that's like a black hole or something, or an exploding star. But that's all the crystals we needed, 143 in total. Quite tricky to work this one out, but once you've cracked it, like I have, not too bad. And here comes the ending. Are you ready? Next up, Alpha Centauri. No mention of the Maestro you're supposed to fight, but there we go. Back to the title screen and the Doctor Who music. That was Roland in Time. Long play review from Amsoft and Gemsoft in 1984. Check out the sequel, Roland in Space, if you want to. It actually has proper scrolling and not a single screen affair. But yes, 6.5 out of 10 from me. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy Christmas. Have a great new year. Go check out my Facebook page and